Happy Wine Wednesday, everyone. I hope you're having a fabulous week. I hope your seahorses are grand. I'm sipping on some Pinot, or I'm sorry, I'm sipping on Chardonnay. It's my go-to nowadays for just a casual sip. Holly, what are you sipping on?
The yellowtail again.
And
Still
it
working on that same bottle so it doesn't go bad.
and in a cool cup. All right. Tell us what you're sipping on in the comment section. But definitely Happy Wine Wednesday. Let me take my welcome sip. Let us know in the comments how you're doing this week. And if you have any questions, it is open chat. So bring the questions, or we're just going to endlessly talk within the community, right? Only announcements that I do have are I think that a way to grow the group and make the membership a little bit more special is to maybe do some giveaways. So, what I need from you guys in the audience is ideas of guests that you'd like to have come on and products that you'd like to see given away, because that's something that always brings in people. So if we do a giveaway and you got to join the group on Facebook to be entered, you know how it goes. So tell me what you guys think we should try to give away, and I'll contact that sponsor or company and get them to be a sponsor, and we'll do some giveaways and grow the group and grow the channel. So help me out, give me some ideas. I'm on my own here, guys. I mean, I've obviously got Cheryl and Holly helping me tremendously with Wine Wednesday, and Ray, who couldn't be here tonight. But I just need you, audience members, to tell me what you want given away. What would be a good prize for someone that might not be doing their Seahorse tank yet, or something that would apply to everyone. So that's my only announcement, is that I want to get us growing. And hey, Gina. Oh, Gina's hoping to hop in when she gets home. Maybe she can give us some ideas for sure. Hey, Zen Ginger. Hey, Shyla. As per usual, that's my last announcement, is I worked my butt off this week and I didn't get much done on the channel. So apologies. I really do work on it, guys. It's just I'm in management, and you know how management goes. They're pressuring me to do stuff all the time. But that being said, Gina, we would love. Oh, Gina said, I think a brine shrimp hatchery kit would be a good giveaway item. I think so too. Let's talk about that more when you can jump in, if you can jump in. But in the meantime, as we were talking before we started, Holly, you did some cleaning today. Tell me what's going
Oh,
on.
yeah. I'm beat. I spent about 7 hours on the tanks today because it's summer now and warmer. I decided to clean out my sumps. And I did the display tank sump last week. And this week, I did the tiki tank sump, and it was a mess.
Mm,
There was so much yucky, icky, like the mysis turns into like mud in your sump,
yep.
I guess is what I've discovered, and it's disgusting. And so it's hard to siphon it out, because the sump's down low. So your siphon's down low. So, it took forever to pump it out. And then the protein skimmer got clogged. The motor got clogged by the gunk and stopped
Yep.
working. So next I had to take the skimmer out and put it in a bucket of hot water and blast the motor so all the crap could come flying
Gunk.
out of it.
And
So,
vinegar helps with that. Vinegar helps with that. But go
oh,
on.
got all done with that, got it working again, got everything put back together. And because I didn't totally vacuum out everything, there was still a little bit left. Oh, and another thing, I have bio balls in there.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did in the display tank a couple times ago when I cleaned out that sump, I put them into one of those big laundry bags that you put your delicates in the washer in,
Uh-huh.
a mesh
Uh-huh.
bag. So a big giant mesh bag. So today I individually cleaned every bio ball in that tank, which is a large amount. They're probably about this much bio balls in there. So I rinsed them off in the dirty tank water, put them all into the laundry bag. So that took a long time. Got everything cleaned and back together. And then the pump still blew some crap into the tank.
Mm.
So I have an internal filter in there, or a pre-filter as Ray calls it, which works really well, but I had to empty that thing and rinse off the sponge about 6 or 8 times today.
Now I got a question real
Now
quick.
it's clear, the cloudiness is gone, so I'm good now, but oh my gosh,
I
what a
have a
mess.
question. I have a question about that because I've complained about the cloudiness after a
Mhm,
deep clean on my all-in-one. And your
mhm,
tank's bigger, so it shouldn't take as much time to keep up. But what I started realizing, and I think I discussed this a few
mhm,
weeks ago, is that my big issue is I want it to look pretty. So I'm like
mhm,
scrubbing rocks, and I'm just scrubbing them in old tank water, but
mhm,
still you're scrubbing rocks. So you're scrubbing off the bacteria, not the stuff that's burrowed
mhm,
deep in, but like if you cleaned all your like actually first of
mhm.
all, describe your sump. Tell me it comes down, the water comes down, then it
Okay,
goes
so it
through what?
comes into a sock. Okay, first thing it goes through a filter sock. And then in that section with the filter sock, in my first section, is also my protein skimmer.
Okay.
And there's also a little pump in there that pumps water through the chiller, and
Okay.
it comes out the chiller and goes to the other far end of the sump. The next section is all my biomedia, which in this tank I don't have K1 yet. So
Okay.
it's bio balls, and I have a handful of sponge filters in there just for emergencies that I just keep in there. So that's what's in my middle section. And then it goes to the third section. It flows through another compartment, which I don't have anything in other than I've got a strip of like coarse sponge in there that's supposed to catch crap, which it
Yep.
does.
Yep.
And then the final stage, I have my pump back to the tank, and that's where the water from the chiller flows into, and there's a bag of aquachar floating in
Gotcha.
there too.
And in the tank you have does that tank has a char chamber or no?
Yeah, it's got two. That's this
Okay.
tank. It's a 75 gallon, so I've got two 40-gallon char chambers in there. I've got a huge bubbler reef. That was the one that has the bubbling reef.
For oxygen.
And the heaters on both my tanks are flow through heaters. They're not in anything. The water goes through the heater into the tank.
Gotcha. Well, no, the only reason I was asking is because, like I said, anybody out there that has a sump that might be using bioballs, or if all your filtration is in your sump, then be very careful. Like Holly said, she rinsed the bioballs in tank water. That's
Mhm,
okay. Now, I do want to know about you putting them in the laundry thing, but
mhm,
I'm sorry, I'm jumping through hoops. But bottom line is, if all your filtration is in your sump, then don't thoroughly clean the whole thing, or you're going to lose your nitrifying bacteria and your
mhm,
tank's going to mini cycle. And I think that's what's happening in my tank because when I scrub the rocks, I'm upsetting the bacteria, I'm
mhm,
upsetting what's going on in the system. And then I don't have the water or the equipment in a sump to compensate for my scrubbing. Even though I pull the water out via
mhm,
water change, still I've disrupted the cycle, if that makes sense.
mhm,
And hey, Fish Fam Link, hey, Terry's Tropical Tanks, you could probably help me with this topic too. You guys know more about bacteria, but I just think it's pretty dangerous, like and I guess the point that I want to make is when you clean stuff like bioballs, when you clean stuff like Aquachar or the Robert King char chamber or anything you're using, you want to make sure that you're using tank water. And I am
mhm,
scrubbing my rocks in tank water, but I'm scrubbing them, right? I'm really scrubbing them to get any algae off. And then I put them back and I've disrupted the cycle overall. So what do
mhm.
you mean by putting them in a laundry so what do you
Okay,
do with them? Are you
so
washing them?
no. So what I do is I got 2 buckets half full of dirty tank water. So I
Okay.
started siphoning in the tank, not in the sump. So
Right.
I had 2 buckets. So in one bucket, I put the mesh laundry bag
Okay.
with the water. So it's in the water.
Got
And
it.
then the other one is just water. So I took handfuls of bio balls out of the sump, swished them around in the bucket of water, and then put them in the laundry bag in the bucket of water.
For easy collection.
Yeah, so that they're all
Okay.
in there. Okay,
Okay.
so that's how I have it in my display tank, which I like because once they're all in there and the bag's zipped up, then I can easily pull the whole bag out at once when I'm doing cleaning day
Yep.
and swish it around in a thing of dirty water so that all that loose mysis
Yes.
comes out, or at least some of it. It's never all of it, I noticed, but you can get a lot out that way. And then, not only that, I can see inside the sump if there's any piles of it in there and siphon it out real quick so that it doesn't get built up into a disgusting mess.
Which it still does, as we've discussed. And I was going to say, too, I'm a firm believer, you guys know, in algae scrubbers. And on my
Mm-hmm.
65-gallon, I have the algae scrubber. But I can tell you that at least, I'm going to say once a year,
Mm-hmm.
maybe once every 6 months, if it's getting really bad, I completely tear down my sump.
Mm-hmm.
I don't tear down the algae scrubber. I stick the scrubber sheets. You know, if you guys are familiar with a scrubber, mine has two. Right? It was special built for me. If you go back and watch old videos, you can see it. But Ronald Chinners made this algae scrubber for me. It fits perfectly in my sump. The water goes directly into it. Blah blah blah. Anyways, I still have to clean this sump because it gets so gunked up. Even though it's a good design and a good system, I
Mm-hmm.
still get like algae going back up into the display or
Mm-hmm.
pile up, as Holly said. Your sump, you usually
Yeah,
want it to
it's
be slow flow. So in the algae scrubber, I will put the sheets into dirty tank water and I will literally tear apart my sump, soak my skimmer in
Mhm.
vinegar, and scrub the sump and make it completely clean. I do also have rock in the tank, though. I want to make that known. So I do have my nitrogen cycle covered. You know, I'm not destroying all the bacteria. And of course, the algae scrubber I keep in tank water. But I'm just curious out of you guys out there, how many of you have sumps that you just leave like forever? And does that cause problems? Because
Uh,
go ahead, Cheryl.
I was gonna say I rarely clean my subs. They just don't get dirty.
But describe your sump. You have
Yeah, but
handmade sumps.
they're homemade. The minimum size for a sump for me is a 29-gallon tank,
Mm-hmm.
and I make the first chamber large enough to hold a large filter sock and a skimmer that's rated on average for 285 gallons, and that's for maybe a either 20-gallon nursery tanks or 50-gallon adult tanks. And I have some bigger ones that I've made out of 46-gallon tanks. It's bigger sumps.
So first chamber is sock and huge ass skimmer. What's next chamber?
that's how mine is too.
The next chamber is actually holds my K1 media reactor.
Okay.
Okay. And it holds some larger pieces of rock, live
Okay.
rock. Then I have my first baffle and my second baffle, depending on what I'm using the sump for. It's either going to be an inch and a half to 2 inches each baffle, that width, which is filled with crushed rock.
And you're telling me you never get buildup in the crushed rock? How? Why? How?
Because everything is going through the filter sock, then hitting the skimmer, then hitting the K1 before it's hitting anything else.
Yeah, but K1's not
Because
going to
she
stop gunk.
doesn't overfeed.
Ah.
I think part of it is, I mean, obviously mysis is getting in there even through the filter soccer thing because like Ray was
It
saying
shouldn't
one
be.
time when we were talking about it, it is tiny, but it congeals on the other side once it's in the sump. So yeah,
I
you
get,
get this
I'm
gelatinous.
listening. I've got to grab something real quick. So keep talking. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So you get these gelatinous masses of grossness
How
in
often
there.
do you change your filter sock?
Hmm. Every
How-
day, every morning, I change the filter sock
And you're still
and
getting a buildup
and
of it.
empty the cup of the skimmer, even though it's not full. It'll have a little fill, and I rinse it and paper towel it off and put it back. So I do that every morning.
See, I break down a skimmer. Uh, it, like if I've had 30 or 40 in a 50-gallon that I was racing,
Hmm.
uh, I'll wait until they're basically, for all intents and purposes, gone. So they may be in there 6 months or more before I break anything down in the sump.
Right, but in your case,
Yeah, I
Cheryl,
do
when you're talking,
mine
wait, hang on.
6 months to a year.
Hang on. When you're talking about your tanks, Cheryl, you break them down every time you cycle through. So that is almost annually, right? I mean, like every time you have frag grow up, then
It
you
depends.
restart the tank.
Yeah, if it's stuff like why uh, if it's like babies that I grew out, that's going to get broken down and cleaned. But
Right.
my adult tanks, they rarely get cleaned. But again, my smallest pair for smallest adult tank is my 45 gallon, but that's got a what do they call them? It's got a special type of overflow which is drilled with external piping, and it's
Okay.
three separate chambers in the overflow, and that's plugged into, well, think about it, it's a 45-gallon tank plugged into a 29-gallon sump, and that's for a single pair.
Right, right. So your method is over filtration, and I get it. And the K1 is amazing because it's tumbling, right? So nothing gets really built up. I've never had the K1 get
Well, and
built up.
I'll say too, my I have to clean the overflow boxes in that system
Right.
more often than that because that stuff clogs the overflows. And I
I'm trying
See
to
leave.
the
figure out why you're getting so much of a buildup of crud.
Hmm.
I'm Thank you. It's a bean animal overflow.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, he knew what it was when I
Yeah.
described poor description of it. Yeah, it's the bean animal overflow. I bought the tank years ago, and that's the tank that my oldest pair of combs lived over 9 years in that tank.
Wow. Well, I mean, I know it matters how you set up the sump, and I know it matters what you put in it, right? Like, I love
Mhm.
the K1. I love the char chambers in the tank, the Robert King char chambers in the tank.
Mhm.
That's helped tremendously. But I just feel like the setup matters. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, we need to figure out why, like Holly said, Holly's tank's getting gunk. My overflow in the 65 gallon, because it had a not built in overflow, I had the box,
Okay.
and it got algae. And what I eventually figured out is cover it, and that not cover it like tape it down, but like put a cover so the light's not hitting it. And then my problem was solved. But
Mhm.
Holly, maybe you're just
It's just
taking
too
on
much
these guys.
food. I think it's too much food.
I think you're
It's
overfeeding them as part of the problem. And
that's
I'll tell you,
probably a big part of it because this tank is different than the display tank in that I broadcast feed them. So they're
Ah,
not going to dishes. They're eating all over the place.
mhm.
And then at the end of the meal, I vacuum, but there's always more comes out from under something.
yep.
And I've got that internal filter that helps.
Well,
Yeah.
But a lot of it floats and goes through those boxes and gets stuck in there. And I think then it gets flushed into the sump and
right. Well,
that
wait, time out. If it's floating, get it out before it goes into the box, right? I mean, I have
If
food that
you
floats and
can
I sucker it
see
out.
it, yeah, but I'm not
Yeah,
seeing it, so I think stuff it probably comes out later or when I'm cleaning, maybe, on cleaning
maybe.
day, you lift
Yep.
stuff, vacuum it, and then stuff's everywhere, and then it runs through, and you switch everything out. So yeah, it's getting stuck in
Yeah.
places, I
Well,
think.
Well, and that the filter sock question was really good because I wasn't changing mine every day. And the other thing is in the all-in-one, it's this all-in-one has like a holder for a filter sock, right?
Mhm.
And so the filter sock has to fit it perfectly. It's not a round thing. It's more
mhm,
like straight top and then you, right? That's how the
mhm,
sock is shaped to fit into this holder. So I
mhm,
bought some more filter socks and they didn't fit. They didn't work. Water was going around it. It's
Mhm.
not doing its job.
Mhm.
And then I realized that I've been using the original ones so much that there's like a tear at the top. So stuff's getting
Mhm.
through.
Yeah,
So
sometimes you get that. And my filter socks I've had, they're the original ones, you
I
know,
think they
and
break down.
and that may be part of it too because what I've been running, well,
I think
close
part
to
of your problem,
5 years,
yeah, I think
close
part of
to
your
five
problem
years.
is your bio balls. I
Mhm.
tried them years ago,
Mhm.
and they darn near killed me
Mhm.
because I
That's how
stepped.
I feel about it today as I'm
Yeah,
washing them all
no, I
off.
mean I actually
Oh man.
stepped on a bag of them because I was rushing
Yeah.
Oh
around.
no.
That's like
Skipped
stepping on
off
Legos.
the railing onto the ground off my front porch,
Mm.
and I couldn't sit, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And I decided that the bio balls, they also created the kind of film you're describing because
That's
they
maybe
don't
what
have the
it is.
flow. They don't have the flow to
Mhm.
help manually clean. And
Uh,
I feel that between darn near trying to kill myself with them and
mhm.
the lack of filtration that I saw in them, because that was an experiment for me, I got rid of them.
Right, because
Uh,
when if since they're not moving, yes, they're really
yeah,
great at
they
collecting the
hold
good
stuff,
bacteria, but
but
they're
they hold
holding other
stuff.
stuff. Right.
Well,
Yeah.
Right.
the other
So I
thing you
have
have to
to work
understand
on
is
switching it out to K1,
yeah,
like
all
I
my
have in the
systems have at
display.
least three
Hang on,
returns.
hang on. Holly, finish what you were saying. Go ahead.
Oh,
You're
I was
working on
saying then yeah, replace them with K1. I haven't done that yet. It's not on my to do.
priority list.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not on my priority list, I'll say, because we got a lot of household stuff going on right now that it takes precedent.
Sure.
but
Sure.
but yeah,
Penguins cheap.
that's part of the plan. So maybe that'll help. I do have in the display tank, it's partly bio balls and partly the K1
Yep.
reactor.
Yep. Cheryl,
And
what were
I
you gonna
do
say?
like
Oh,
because you can see everything that way.
yep.
Yeah.
Cheryl, what were you gonna say? You were saying something about a three.
I normally run at least three, if not more, returns and at different water volumes in the tanks. And what that does is it keeps everything circulating so there's no ability for it to build up and congeal onto rocks and stuff like that. And I also am not keeping plants or there's no sand beds, anything like that. And the rocks that I have in the main tank are actually just the ones that I built to hold hitches for the seahorses that I can plug in. So basically, I've got a real good continuous turnover, and all my pumps are adjustable. So depending on what I have, and if I got some 3.5 inch little ones, I'm going to turn down the volumes on the pump. If I'm as they grow and as they find new homes, I increase the flow volume because they
Yep.
can handle more flow. And that's something else. A lot of people have one pump and no ability to control it.
Right.
And when you've got that, you're not going to get the kind of flow. This is where the closed loop systems came in that people really loved. I know people that used them for years because they could drill the tanks and have multiple places of flow and have flow going under rocks and stuff like that to keep detritus from building up because detritus is your enemy in a closed environment.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on you having rubble rock that doesn't catch stuff. Is it just high flow in your sump, or?
Mhm.
Part of it's I run a high. Okay, like in my last chamber, before it goes into back into the tank, it goes to those two baffles I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Except it doesn't go back into the tank. It goes into another chamber there. These are things I built myself after multiple experiments. And so what I can do is I can have a very high flow in the tank. And if I want to reduce it, all I have to do is turn the little knobby so I
Sure.
bleed it off into the sump,
Sure.
which helps keep the sump clean.
I'm just amazed that, like, because I've steered clear, I'm to the point where I'm all K1 and RKC chambers and then actual rock, because rubble rock and all that other stuff, as Holly has described, it all gathers stuff for me. But maybe the way your baffles are set up is just genius, and you're able to pull it off. But for those of
Well,
us that can't make a sump,
well,
maybe.
I run high flow in the sump. And I've
Okay.
even, depending on what's going on, I can reverse it or turn it off of a pump and have it recirculating in the sump itself if I want to do
Yep.
that.
Sure. That does make sense. And like with the skimmer, doesn't the skimmer get affected by high flow, or no?
It will be, but I don't worry about that because in my first chamber, I have a baffle in there that separates the sock from anything else.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
Okay.
again,
The skimmer just always gives me trouble, like in the sump, because you got to keep the water steady, the height of the
oh yeah,
water. That always
well,
messes me up.
that's why I put them in the first chamber because that's the highest one where the highest water volume is, and it gives me
Gotcha.
the best production out of it.
Yeah, and with the skimmer too, that's another. I'm glad Holly made that point, because a lot of people think, oh, I just dump the skimmer cup, I'm good. But at least on water change day, you need to pull your skimmer and clean it. You need to clean the neck. You need to maybe run vinegar through the pump. Maybe not every water change for the vinegar part, but I'm saying
Yeah,
you
I
need
haven't
to
done
care.
that.
Well, yeah. Yep, I'll send it to you, Gina. Gina's going to join
Yeah.
us and chat. And guys, I'm glad we're having Gina's join us, because I may have to go pick up the kids. But definitely interested in anybody's thoughts on giveaways and how we can grow the group and grow the channel. Let me know what you want to see, and we'll get it. But let me
Yeah.
try to find Gina. Go ahead.
I'm going to
Sure.
go. I have the equivalent of two sumps for each tank that's set up. That way, one gets dirty, I pull it out, I pop in a new clean one. But the thing is, you have to be totally honest. The sumps that I use now run over $300. When I bought those sumps, they were just coming out with them, and they were running about $75. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Price matters for sure.
No, mine were expensive. And
They
yeah,
are.
they're acrylic, and yeah, they had built-in baffles and all that.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
sock holder, all of it. So yeah, I have ones that are pre-made.
And the thing is, at one point, the pumps that they were using on them weren't too good, and I ran into problems with those. But they've since fixed that problem. And I
Yeah,
can buy
mine
parts.
didn't come with pumps. I got my pumps. I got the Jabeo ones that Dan said to get. The ones that are kind of remote control adjustable.
Yeah, I gotta
And
get my fingers wet.
I got I got that, and they work really good. I've been really happy. I have those on both my tanks. I should probably bring up. Did you guys see that Shyla sent us a message in our group messenger
I
about
saw
her
that right
Seahorse?
before I started. Go ahead and tell us, Holly, because I haven't had a chance to look at it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
so she shared her male. She thinks looks like he's caving in on one side. She thinks like he's
Oh,
thin, and
no.
she's wondering, is that parasites or
Is Shyla okay with us sharing that?
probably she's here. We can ask.
Shyla, are you okay with us sharing the pictures live? Let me know. I won't do it until you say it's okay. but I've got it up in case you're ready for me to do that. So
And
let me
she
know.
did reply. I put, because I said, I've noticed, like in my tiki tank, I think because there's so many of them and I broadcast feed, so I don't see them eat specifically the way I do in my other tank. I'll notice that, like, if I'm like gone for a little while and I'm not feeding them as often, sometimes when I'm busy, they will start to get a little thin. And then, when I have more time at home, I start feeding them more meals in a day and they bulk back up. So I wasn't sure if maybe that might be.
Well, Shyla gave me permission to show, so I'm going to. And Gina, message me on Facebook. That's the easiest way to send you the link again, if possible. But here we go. Let me get this up and we can share it.
He
Ooh,
said
I do see.
he gets 3 meals a day and doesn't skip a meal. Maybe about twice a week, they might get 2 meals instead.
I see what she's talking about, though,
Mm-hmm.
where he
So
looks.
I don't know. I was asking her, is there any other signs, like if he's not eating, like if she notices he doesn't eat as much, like he doesn't want to eat, or other symptoms?
And what species is this? Looks like.
Whitey eye. Is it
Okay.
her horses are whitey eye, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And I think we have a video.
Yeah, there's a video too.
I see. I see exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does look thin to
Well, wait a
me.
minute. Is he doesn't look thin? Is that reflection or is that truly an indent?
That's what she's asking. And I can't really tell from
Yeah,
from the
because I see the
footage.
spines.
Look at the pictures too. There's some
Yeah.
photographs. See, I have trouble telling. He does look thin there to me. See, Scrappy Doo's kind of starting to look like that because he's not eating. You know?
Well, it also looks like
But
he's got a large pouch.
it's hard to tell from the pictures, though. I can't, and I don't know enough about parasites to really say how that would look or not look.
I'm calling on Chris Carey because I don't know Whitey Eye much, but my problem with this is, like, I'm not saying it's not a problem, but in this case, you're like, oh my gosh, he has an indent in his side, but then he comes down low right here, and you can see the spines where it just looks like reflection. Look, it just looks like he's dark right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Well, the way
So,
to know for sure, if you can't see him well enough in the tank, you could lift
oh
him
shoot.
out or bring him close in your hand in the water, and where you can actually see better if you can't see well enough in the tank to see whether or not it's an indent.
Is he having any trouble swimming?
I'm going to try to get Gina in here as you guys talk back and forth. Go ahead.
Okay.
Because I'm wondering, it looks like he's indented where he should be round and fat on the torso, but he looks like he has inflammation going up to the lower portion of the torso and pouch.
Hang on, I'm going to share again, and I am working on getting you in, Gina. But that comment bothers me because my males are always thinner and then big pouch. So Cheryl, tell me a little bit more about what you mean.
True.
Well, it depends on where the swelling is. If it's above the anal opening on the torso, on the body of the seahorse, that's a completely different thing than a seahorse that's pregnant and getting enlarged due to pregnancy.
Well, no, nobody thinks he's pregnant though. We're talking about this indent that it looks like an indent in his side. But
But is
Shiloh,
it?
when you're looking at him straight on, does he look equal on both sides? Because I'll tell you, my males are thin up top and then they get like fatter down by the pouch. And then
Mm-hmm.
when they move, I've seen the exact thing where it looks like a reflection or something and it looks like they're caved in, but it's just them kind of squirming or whatnot. And
Yeah,
I'm not
mine
like
too.
in this one, look at him. He looks fine. He looks totally fine to me.
It's hard. I would say you might want to just gently pick him up and look at him close and see. Maybe we're not seeing him right, like she said, reflection or whatever. But you're right, Kelly. Like my males are the same way. Yeah, their upper body's thinner. And Scrappy Doo, I've noticed specifically, he has gotten thinner though because he's not eating. But he still looks surprisingly good for not eating. I can't believe the way he's lasting. But
I'm wondering if he's got some kind of blockage in the GI tract, or
well, he
it
eats
doesn't look
well.
like a
She says
pregnancy.
that no trouble swimming, and he eats well.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't know. I think it's too hard to tell from
I
this.
can't tell from the pictures.
I'll tell you what. When I have an oddball seahorse, okay, let me give you an example. In fact, in a second, I'll go take a picture, and Cheryl helped me with this. Actually, let me stop sharing for a second so I can tell this little story. But when I first got my Ocean Rider seahorses, sorry, here we go. When I got let me turn my camera back on. When I got my Ocean Rider seahorses, the female had a ball on her tail. And of course, one of the things that we fear is what's it called? Whitetail or
Tail rot?
Tail rot. That's it.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, oh my gosh, Cheryl, is this tail rot? And she looked at the pictures, and I had the seahorse for a minute, and the ball grew at the same rate as the seahorse grew.
Mhm.
So it was just an abnormality, right? It was just a quirk, right? It hasn't caused her any trouble. She's still with me. Everything's fine. She eats fine. Everything's fine. So I'm just saying, a lot of times when you see something on the seahorse, I don't worry until my seahorse stops eating or starts acting differently. You need to observe always before that, but as long as they're eating and acting right, I don't freak out. And I
Like
could
they
be wrong about that,
normally
but
do. Yeah. Get to know their normal behavior, and then you'll know when something's not normal for them.
right. Gina's with us. Woo!
Hey.
What's up, Gina? How you
Not,
doing?
not much. I'm hurting. So
No?
I was listening on my way home about how Holly's been cleaning the sump. I've been doing that at work the last 2 days. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
am hurting.
I feel that pain, Gina.
Yes.
Actually, we didn't give you a very good introduction, and we need to have you as an actual guest someday. But Gina, tell us about you, the store. What are you doing? What's up with Gina?
So I started a reef tank about 2 years ago. But before that, I worked at Petco for 7 years. That's how I got into the fish hobby, fish keeping. I worked at Petco for a year, and then the aquatic specialist at my first store stepped down. Or actually, no, he got a different job. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I just was thrown into it, learned the fish hobby and everything. And then bounced to another store, and then bounced to another store. Went up the chain of command to management. And then my third store actually had saltwater. So I started learning saltwater, started my own reef tank. And then about a year ago, I quit Petco and I work at Marine Solutions, which is a saltwater specialty store.
Nice.
We only do saltwater. So
love it.
Very cool.
Do you guys deal in seahorses yet, though?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
We actually we haven't had seahorses we haven't consistently had seahorses recently. We did have a pair that came in and then sold last week. So we don't currently have seahorses, but we have pipefish. We have dragonface, banded, and blue stripe.
I want to get into pipefish. I want to get into pipefish so bad. I love pipefish. I'm afraid to mix them, but I want to do a tank for just pipefish. I think that'd be so awesome. And so yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to pry more, but what brings you to the channel, ma'am?
Just so I'm part of like the fish fam, which you saw fishfam.link. There aren't a lot of saltwater keepers there, and Zen Ginger actually really pushed to have you guys added to like the fishfam.link page. So that's where Terry's from, and all that stuff is from the Fish Fam. So yeah, it's just like I need other like saltwater streams to watch. Like watching all freshwater streams is not my thing. I'm into saltwater, so
Sure.
yeah.
And that's what we want is information from people like you, like how we could make it more interesting. I know we focus in on seahorses, but we need to expand to talk more about just saltwater in general and you know, that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna ask dumb questions now because I wasn't prepared for you as a guest. But what's the unique fish that you want to keep that you haven't?
Oh my gosh, I really want cowfish.
Me too.
Cubiculus boxfish, trunkfish. Oh my god, they're so freaking cute. Or puffers. Not in the same tank, obviously, because you know, with cowfish, if they're picked on at all, they will, well, as we call it at the store, they'll fart on the fish, other fish, and kill everything. So, but yeah, trunkfish, they're so cute.
Is it difficult for you working, you know, in management and et cetera, but is it difficult for you working in a store, whereas most stores give out bad information and they don't know what they're talking about, making sure that everybody's educated and dealing with customers that like have no clue?
So I actually had more of a problem with that when I worked at Petco.
Sure.
Yes. So having the more seasoned hobbyists come in and be like, oh, she's just a Petco worker, like dealing with that side. And then, yes, dealing with the totally new to the hobby, like not wanting to listen, not believing you, what you say, how, you know that you can't have an Oscar in a 10-gallon. It's going to get huge. Like, you can't. Yeah. Like, well, it's only going to be for a month. I'm like, no, I don't. No, it's not going to be only for a month. It's no. But yeah, no, it's. I saw that more at Petco rather than my current store. My current store is also not in like a main shopping center. So people really have to seek us out. We're in like a business district. So yeah, people really have to kind of look for us. And
Marine Solutions is located where?
St. Charles, Missouri. Close to St. It's just outside of St. Louis. Yeah.
But you do ship?
Not yet. No. I can. So I will ship. Yes, if people reach out to me, I will ship stuff to you, but we don't officially ship to the masses yet. So,
you want my favorite story about fish?
Yeah.
And this was a fish store. That's all they dealt with. They had a pair of potbellies and a pair of rectus in one tank together. And someone came in and wanted to buy the potbellies. So the helper there bags up the male pot and the female erectus in the bag and gives it to him. And I'm standing there. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. You're like,
and I had to open my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I always appreciated that. Like, I was very into like learning from my customers when I worked at Petco. And that's kind of how I gained like my good reputation around. Like, oh no, she actually knows what she's doing. She actually listens.
Yeah.
I remember when I first took over aquatics at my first Petco, there was a cichlid guy who came in. He goes, oh, hey, so what's that cichlid? And I'd be like, oh, it's a this and this. Oh, do you know what lake that's from? I was like,
right?
No. But I can Google it really quick for you. He goes, no, actually, that was a test. I know exactly where that originates from. It was a test, and I appreciate that you didn't just come up with some BS answer and pretend like you knew what you were talking about. I appreciate that you were actually going to seek out the right information. So I will be back. And I was like, sweet.
And that's cool, but I also hate those customers too, where they come in and they're like testing you.
Well,
Come on, man.
I bought an adult wild-caught pair of hippocampus combs, tiger-tailed seahorses. I'm going back many years ago. And they lived with me for over 9 years. And he was selling them for $30 a piece as black seahorses.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah.
No good. No good. But
well, I think our order form, she has them listed as black seahorses, but then the scientific name next to it, and yeah, they're erectus. Those are the ones that we carry. We don't have any other types that we because we only have one tank for them, and we don't like to mix different types together.
Who's got the background noise? Is it you,
I think
Tina?
I think that's me. I think that's my son in the background.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
no
sorry.
worries. No, it's fine. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like something else.
Right.
Anyhow,
No.
So have you kept seahorses at all?
I have not, just at the store.
Nice. Okay. And so what's
Time to buy some Pod Erectus hybrids.
Right?
so
I have a sense of humor about this.
how are you trying to expand the business? Like obviously you're looking at shipping. What are your goals?
So I'm currently updating the website. We prematurely launched our website, our new website on accident. So I'm trying to get all of the fish livestock updated with informational listings and all that stuff. Last week I did all like the angels, basslets, blennies, not gobies, damsels, which is a lot. Tomorrow I plan on doing more. And then once we get the current stock, then we're gonna try to work with one of our distributors, DFW, to start drop shipping. So they will buy things off our website, and then DFW will actually be the one to ship it out. So we don't have to deal with boxing stuff up. So I got to figure out. That's my next step, is to figure out all the programming and stuff and how to make that work. So we're trying to become more of like an online presence, because the business has been slow the last year. It was a very slow winter. Winter is usually our busy season because everybody's home and actually paying attention to their tank.
Right.
And summertime it slows down.
Why do you think that it's been so lacking? I mean, do you think it's just?
I think it's things going back to normal after COVID. People are actually going back to work, or all the economy stuff that's going on.
Inflation.
Inflation. Oh my gosh, inflation. The last 2 years has been insane in this hobby. We haven't actually done any. We haven't done any transcontinental orders lately because shipping is almost double what our actual order is. It's been insane.
Well, we'll get you with Dan on the side, because he has a couple connections that might be useful to you about shipping, because we know that's the whole problem, is that you've got a good order, but then shipping's double the price. It's
my gosh.
Well, it's like I ordered a pair of seahorses coming in out of Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
It took 7 days to get from Hawaii to Texas.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I heard a horror story from my boss, the owner, about a transcontinental order that he placed, and it was in the middle of winter. We don't have like a really long, like deep cold spell here in St. Louis, but it's from like December to like March. Anyway, he placed the order. It got stuck. It got delayed on the tarmac in Chicago overnight when it was like -5 degrees. Like, he's just like, you might as well just like cancel that. And they're like, no, you have to like receive it and like report it all DOA and blah blah blah. And he's like, that is so annoying, so frustrating.
Sure.
It's like I won't ship unless the weather's good at both ends and in the middle.
Well, it's a double-edged sword though, because as a store, like I said, our busy season's in the winter. We have to restock.
Right.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yikes. Holly, were you going to say something?
No, I was just agreeing. About the shipping stuff.
Yeah.
So, what else do we need to discuss? You were saying earlier that you think a brine shrimp kit would be a good prize giveaway. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that would be good for the newbies and possibly people that are in the hobby already, just to have an extra, maybe like a spare, or have two going at the same time. I don't know. I feel like anybody could use a brine shrimp hatchery.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I run a bunch at once. I'll tell you, when I have fry, I run 2 cones and 2 box hatcheries all at once. Because I use the box hatcheries. What I like about those is they've got the little jar on top that the brine shrimp swim up into.
Mm-hmm.
So if I start them at the same time as I start my cones, that tells me the hatch is ready.
Yep.
Because in the cones, everything's spinning around, and you have to shut it down to see if anybody's actually swimming. So once I see them gather in the little jar, I'm like, okay, the hatch is done. Then I know the cones are done too, which is nice.
But what the easiest thing to do with the cones is I just used an old shirt from my son,
Oh, uh-huh.
darken up the top, and everything that's alive heads for
Goes
the
to the
bottom. And
bottom. Yeah.
I siphon them off.
What
Yeah.
Actually,
That's how I get them out too.
what
Yeah.
brand or style do you prefer, Gina?
I actually have not really hatched brine shrimp because I haven't had a need really.
Right.
I add some brine shrimp eggs to my coral food mix just whenever I broadcast feed because I have some LPS that'll eat the eggs.
Sure.
The fish will also eat the eggs, the dried ones, the BRS ones. I've tried like the flat disc one that I forget what brand it is. I tried it once and it was not good. And I haven't.
Okay, don't
That
do
one.
flat disc.
Yeah, that one.
There's
Yeah.
things I like about it and things I don't. The thing I don't is that it's messy. Like if you tilt it
Yes.
a little bit, then the eggs come in. The way it's supposed to work is they have inside, it's like a fence. And they can swim through these little channels. They see the light in the middle, and they swim and get into this little cup. And when it works great. But like I said, if you pick it up and it sloshes and spills, then you've got all the crap coming
Yeah.
into the cup. And sometimes also they don't make it all the way in there. Like not all of them do. Like I'll take it apart and there'll still be some brine shrimp swimming around in here that couldn't get to the thing.
You guys need to start growing copepods for your babies. They'll do much better on them. They'll grow faster, and they are actually easier to work with than brine shrimp.
Yeah,
When I
the
finally
copepods,
get
you need a lot.
when I finally get my fry, I'm gonna try copepods. But go on, Holly.
So then this is the other kind. I like these. So it's got the little jar on the top with a little hole that they swim up in, and it's kind of the same premise because they're drawn to the light. So it's got a line in here. You fill that up with salt water and your brine shrimp eggs, and then this you put with water on top. You got to make sure it has contact because otherwise they can't, with the water, they can't swim up in there. But I like it because I can see when they come and they leave the shells behind.
Yeah.
So they're clean already when they get in here. And then it tells me the other thing that I really use is hatching cones, because what you'll find with fry, they eat so much. One of these is not enough.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have actually 4 of them and 2 circles and 2 cone hatcheries. And the way I would do it is I'd run 12-hour shifts on hatches. So I have something hatching every 12 hours, because then it has to enrich till the following day. And then you have to, there's a process to it. So you want stuff continually getting ready. So the more hatcheries you have, the better. And then also that helps. Like if something goes wrong, something else is going to hatch out.
Sure. And you've constantly got the Artemia in, stages of enrichment or whatever.
I'm grabbing the other thing that I use.
Okay.
I'm personally hooked on copepods anymore.
I know, Cheryl. And I've got another question for Gina, but go ahead.
This is the main thing. These are my main hatcheries, is the cone from Brine Shrimp Direct. Yeah, so this is mainly what I use to hatch. It's got a nice spigot where you just turn on the faucet and they come out. And like Cheryl says, if you put a light down here and make it dark on top, they all swim down towards the light so you can get them out. And it basically leaves most of the crud behind.
Most of the eggshells float to the top.
And some people you can use, I mean, the cheap way, like do it yourself Ray, and a lot of people do it that way, is they do it with a pop bottle.
That's what I do.
I was gonna say the aquarium co-op has almost like a pop bottle looking.
Yep. I use 2
I ended up
liters.
with a
It's
pop
easy.
bottle before.
That works too, and it's kind of the same premise as
Mhm.
those, but those are fancy.
But no, everything you said is right. Using the light at certain stages at the bottom to make them, yeah, absolutely. We got to have a show completely about hatching Artemia, because we do need to dive into the discussion about cleaning it and how important it is if it gets scratches and all that other good stuff that Dan talks about all the time, and enrichment and etc. But
Yeah,
for
every
now,
time I get a hatch, the thing that I hatched out of goes to the bleach bucket.
yep, should.
And
Yep,
then
absolutely.
get clean, come back. That's why I have so many, because like I said, it's a process. You got to have some cleaning, some producing, some extra, just in case something goes wrong.
Some being enriched. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Gina,
If you go with Apanamensis copepods, all you have to do is feed them some algae paste a couple times a day.
yes, and that's what I'm going to try, Cheryl. I know you're team copepods. I know, and I'm going to try it. Give me some fries, seahorses.
Okay,
I did
the little
copepods before I did the brine shrimp. I did the wrong kind, which ended up working anyway. But
it's just that they need so much.
Yeah,
the little wiggly things in my background that you can see in my picture, those are Apocyclops panamensis.
Bless
There's
you.
males, females, and some newborns. The newborns you really can't see, and they proliferate. These are the ones that Chad likes.
Yes, Chad Clayton, Reef Nutrition. Yeah.
The funniest thing I ever got was I ordered some and he called me back, and he says, "What size do you need?"
Right.
That cracked me up, because I'm thinking, well, let's see, these are going to be for combs, so they're really tiny, so I need little bitty ones for them.
And normal erectus fry, though, they'll take any size, right? I mean, and the more the merrier.
The thing is that the rectus are much larger than combs or reedi at birth, and that's the major difference. Even these are come in at about 60 microns at birth, and they max out at about 600 microns at full maturity, as opposed to brine shrimp, which start out at a couple hundred microns and top out at over 700 or 800 microns. So there's a big size difference in there.
Sure. And I gotta say,
an idea actually for like along Gina's line of thinking with the hatcheries, Brine Shrimp Direct actually has a lot of different useful stuff for our hobby. Like I have a set of little strainers that are the different sizes for straining the copepods and brine shrimp and what have you that they have on their website. So maybe like a gift certificate from them.
So somebody could pick.
That or it used to be called aquaculture.
If somebody from there, because I get my brine shrimp eggs from there. They have really quality eggs and all kinds of stuff.
So we need someone from Brine Shrimp Direct to come on the show. Gotcha. And we need a prize. And then
they're usually good about working with people. The other one, it's not called Aquaculture Nursery Farm anymore. It's not that. It's in Florida.
Socks is out of business. If you're talking about socks, they're out of business.
I think that may be it. They've changed names a couple times.
Unfortunately, the new generation needs to come up and take over and start doing this stuff. Gina, I want to know about pipefish a little bit more, because I've never kept them, and I know that they are of the Cygnathidae species, or however you want to say it, but do they eat just regular foods? Do you keep them in the reef tank and they're fine?
Yeah. We actually keep them with the Erectus seahorses. They do fine. So depending on the species, I find that the dragon face pipefish, which are the more gray ones, tend to more perch. They tend to hang out more on the rock or on the sand bed and kind of perch around and hunt.
Okay.
Whereas the banded are more free swimming. So they're going to hang out more towards the top half of the tank.
And seahorses hitch to pipefish.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Free ride.
We've gotten pretty lucky to where our seahorses from our normal vendor are actually pretty large, so they don't tend to mess with our pipefish too much.
Gotcha.
But the last pair we got were smaller, and yeah, I did catch them trying to hitch to the pipefish, the dragon face pipefish. The blue banded or blue striped pipefish are actually a micro species. They're smaller, so we actually have them up with our micros. Or our nano fish. Those more go after like the copepods that we have going in that system.
Okay.
Because they're a little too small for the brine shrimp. You'll see a couple whatever, because there's other things in the tank. Like there's the masked gobies. We keep the Peterson shrimps, the bumblebee snails and all that stuff in there. So we're putting brine in there. And you'll see a couple like little tiny floaters from the brine, and they'll go after those, but they mostly go after the copepods that are in that system.
So for the blue banded, did I say that right? Blue banded?
Yep.
Okay.
Or blue stripe.
Blue stripe. They need copepods.
Mm-hmm.
The dragon face is the ones that I like. I mean, they're so beautiful. Their designs are intricate. Oh my gosh. They can just be, you're saying you're keeping them with seahorses and they eat what seahorses eat?
Yep.
Mysis?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mysis, cool. Brine, yeah.
And the one thing we've always worried about, just to, touch the elephant in the room, is that if you're talking about captive bred seahorses and then wild caught pipefish, you're asking for disaster. Are these captive bred pipefish, or like what?
No,
how are
these
you
are
overcoming that?
Ours are both wild caught. So
really?
Our seahorses are wild caught and our pipefish are wild caught.
Yep. Okay. And you're not having any trouble with that?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Nope.
That's interesting.
Yep. Yeah, our seahorses come from Florida, so they're Caribbean.
Okay.
Yep.
And what species do you carry?
Erectus. Hippocampus erectus. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not having any trouble with them, are you getting them from a specific source?
Yeah, so it's AJ Marine.
Okay.
It's a small supplier. She only has like very few things each week. Sorry, she is Jackie. She's the J in AJ.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, we get our peppermint shrimp from her because it's the actual species that eats Aptasia. It's the correct species.
Right. Yeah, that matters. That matters.
Mm-hmm. So we and a few fish from her. But yeah, we order very specific things from her, and whenever she has seahorses, we jump on it. We never have more than 4 at a time though.
Okay.
4 kind of maxes out our tank because, like I said, we keep other things in there too. The pipefish and a couple of leopard wrasses.
What temperature do you keep them at? I'm just curious.
That system we keep at 78.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think it is different with when you're dealing with wild caught versus captive bred for sure. And with the wild caught though, you've never had any problems at all, like with.
Well, so sometimes they don't adjust well. So within a week they'll get sick or might pass overnight the first couple of days. But if they survive that first week, yeah, we'll have them for months.
And are they instantly eating frozen foods?
Sometimes it takes a few days. Sometimes, yeah. We'll try feeding them like 2 or 3 hours after we actually get them in the system, let them settle in for a little bit. And yeah, we'll throw some food in there. We'll watch. And yeah, sometimes they go to it right away. And then sometimes it takes a few days.
Here's what I respect about what you're doing. Number 1, you're honest about it. Number 2, you're feeding them and telling the consumer or telling us what you're feeding them, and that they're, because that's my biggest thing is when a store will say, oh, seahorses are eating, they're great, but they're only eating live foods. Then you send them home, it's a mess.
Oh no, that's our favorite like selling point or selling strategy that we do. If someone's like copper bands, especially angels, if someone's like even thinking about being interested, we ask them. We're like, "Do you want to see a meat?" And we'll
Yeah,
go grab
that's
the bin
good.
of we keep a bin of brine in the refrigerator with a turkey baster, and yeah, we just have it at the ready, and we're just like, "You want to see a meat?"
Right. Good.
Moorish
And
idols, especially. Oh my gosh, we will not sell Moorish idols or copper bands until they're eating.
that's good. And making sure the customer knows what they're doing is really important too.
Yep.
And the bottom line is, honestly, I'm interested in talking to you on the side because when for anyone new to seahorses, I'm always going to recommend captive bred seahorses.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in Gina's area and she's already qualified them as good for the system, I mean, that's on you. But bottom line is, I'm always going to recommend captive bred for a newcomer. But for us oldies, we need wild caught blood back into the system. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work if you don't bring in new blood.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm kind of torn on this, guys. What are you guys thinking? What other questions do
Well,
we have?
Lab Doc did a study on that. Well, his name is Marty, but basically he's a histopathologist, and he did some studies on them, and found that usually they can go between 7 to 9 generations without any problems at all appearing.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, I
And
understand that, but I notice differences myself. As you breed the
yeah,
seahorses down, they get smaller. They get, I don't want to say
Mhm.
dumber, but I mean, they do. And Holly's laughing because she knows, right? They just don't. You Your first wild caught pair of combs, Cheryl, you're telling me those weren't your magnificents, and then as they bred down, they didn't get a little.
actually, they weren't my first pair.
I,
I
I
just stumbled across that pair and had to have them because they were large adults.
yes, and they
But
made
it's
you
just one of those
amazing.
things. Uh, I'll put it to you this way: the one little male that kept dragging the other little female that I raised, and they were in a tank with several others, and he kept dragging her in circles trying to get her to dance with him.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that ended up swam up and hitched to the top of his head. To this day, I don't know if she was calling him, "Get your head out of your you know where," or
Yep. Yep. But Gina, yeah, I mean, like, I'm not putting you on trial here for sure. It's just that we're all about captive bred, of course.
yeah.
You know that. And it's interesting that like you've had no trouble. Like your customers don't come back and have trouble. I mean, that's obviously. Do you have a regimen, or are you not able to share the regimen that you put the seahorses through?
Oh, like how we acclimate them?
Yeah, how you acclimate them
Oh,
if you do
gotcha.
any kind of.
Yeah, so we'll put the seahorses in with what we call the littles, so all the nano fish. They get put in a 5 gallon bucket, separate from the big stuff. Um, and as soon as we pour them all, we make sure they all come from the same source. We don't ever mix sources in that
That's good.
bucket,
That's good.
because they all come in at different salinities. Some ship at normal salinity, so at 2.5. Some ship lower salinity. Um, so yeah, we never mix sources because the salinity is going to be different. Um, but yeah, we'll put them all in a 5 gallon bucket. Um, and then we immediately put safe, CChem safe, because when, the ammonium,
Yeah.
when it hits air, it turns into ammonia. So we put safe in there to detoxify that. And then we actually use methylene blue.
Oh, good. No,
Mm-hmm.
good. That's
Yep.
actually what I've used in one of my
Yep.
videos
We use
for that.
methylene blue, and then that helps helps us track how well, we put them on a drip line, from our whatever system we're going to put them in. And yeah, as the methylene blue kind of fades out, that's when we know, kind of get an idea when they're starting to get ready, and then we track the salinity from the system that they're going in to what they are, and then when they match and the methylene blue is all gone, then that's when we put them in. Usually takes
Gotcha.
about 5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, you're doing your
Four
diligence.
to 5 hours. We try to have everybody in by noon. Store opens at 11. We try to have everybody going and dripping by noon, sometimes 1 o'clock, depending on how big the shipment is. And then we start putting away about 5 or 6. We close at 7.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
so,
Do you feed them live food or
Well, Well, we have
Produce dried.
no, we feed frozen, or there are copepods in that system. We dose copepods once a week, and we got ours from
I was just curious.
Aqua Edibles, which is a local company here in St. Louis.
I was just curious because I found that they're usually kind of nervous when they first come into a strange environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that I could get them to loosen up and start hunting by adding live food to the tank.
Sure.
And they would actually, you could watch them completely change their behavior within an hour.
Yeah.
It's really rewarding to watch.
So that's also why we keep like a couple of leopard grasses in that tank. Because they all go after copepods and stuff too. And if the seahorses see that they're eating it, we think it, at least to what we've seen, there's like, oh wait,
They
that's
learn.
food? Okay.
Yeah.
And they, like, learn
Right.
from them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one of the
So-
fun things I found about my erectus. They get curious about what I'm eating.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to understand eating very well. They'll see me with something. I have pictures of my juveniles, like when I was raising them. I would sit and eat next to their and they'd come and gather. I've got pictures of them like looking at a chicken wing and all kinds of crazy stuff because they're very curious about food.
Yes.
They see something or someone eating, they're like, "What's that?"
Well, I gotta be real. Everything we're talking about is amazing, but it does kind of scare me because it goes against everything we've always talked about, right? So but I think that as people like 20 years ago, you didn't think you could keep seahorses in tanks, period. So,
Right.
now we have these rules on how to keep seahorses, and it makes it easier for sure. But someone like Gina's Reef is going to expand things to where maybe we'll eventually keep seahorses in reef tanks. I don't know.
Hey.
I can't believe you're keeping them at 78 degrees. But to be fair, how long are you keeping them? Right? I mean, like, how long do you typically have seahorses in the tank? Because we've talked a lot about keeping seahorses under 74 degrees because then the bacteria is lower, and the bacteria problems don't come for 6 to 8 months. So
Right. So I think the longest we had them was like a pair at a time was like 6 months. Before they
that's
sold.
a good tracking record.
But
That's a
it
good tracking
sounds
record.
like probably your system's really clean.
And it's
Yeah.
really big.
what
It's a
I'm
400
thinking.
gallon system.
Right.
So yeah, it's not that tank is not the whole. It's the table tanks, which is a whole half of a table, which is a 400 gallon system.
Mhm.
So
It's also going to depend on where they were captured. And
Yeah, it sounds like
because
you're getting in really healthy specimens
Yeah.
mhm.
for one
Yeah.
thing. And if your systems are totally clean and you don't have the dissolved organic problems that we run into in the hobby, then they would be, I could see them being fine at that temperature because that's probably what it is where they come from too.
Right.
You know?
especially
I just worry about the people buying. Like, somebody setting up a
Yeah,
new
don't
tank
keep them at that.
that's
Yeah.
not going to have a 400 gallon tank, that's not going to have,
Mhm.
all the water volume and the cleanliness. So, but I mean, it sounds like your customers are happy and doing well. So
Yeah.
maybe
Oh
you're
yeah,
educating us.
we thoroughly
Well,
educate them on what they need. Like we have
Yeah.
them seed the tank with pods first, and same thing with mandarin gobies. Ours are wild caught also. But yeah, we make sure we ask. We're like, have you started buying copepods? They're like, what are copepods? I'm like, here's a bottle of Fido. Here's a bottle of pods. Come back in a month.
Well, it also is going to depend on where they were collected too.
Yeah.
Because as Lucia did, she was doing the work for Southern Florida on doing the DNA testing. And I've talked with people that actually are divers and have collected seahorses farther south in the Caribbean. And it's actually warmer. However, they don't see the population is center. They don't see the density or the medical problems with some of them.
Oh, saying hi to Terry. Sorry.
No, I got you. I was waiting too. No, I know. But yeah, sure.
So it depends on, there's so many different variables.
Absolutely. And when you're doing things in the right way, I mean, I've said that all along, like we need someone like Gina's Reef to bring in wild caught and make sure they're healthy before they're sold, and extend the population of
Yep.
captive bred. I mean, that's the whole point. So
We are looking into starting to order from ORA. They're really not that much more expensive. I mean, they are a little bit more expensive, but not like double the price or anything like the mandarins are. So yeah, I am looking
Send me
into
some dragonets.
yeah, we have ruby reds. We have like 4 of them in stock right now at the store. We have a bunch of green/blue mandarins, and some scooters. Red scooters have not been available for like 3 months now, and we're all very upset about it because that's one of our favorites.
oh yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, we have ruby reds, scooters, and I think we have 1 red mandarin left. Yeah,
I would say, and I would ask, I'm sorry, you guys, I got to keep playing devil's advocate here. I've got to do
okay.
it. But like, and I want all of your opinions too. If you've already set up a tank, like in my tank, I have captive bred seahorses from, well, different tanks, but I've had them from Seahorse Source, Seahorse Savvy, and Vincent and Holly.
Love Seahorse
right?
Savvy.
Yes, and they're all captive bred, right? So I would like. How do you guys feel about mixing in seahorses that are not captive bred? Because I don't think I'd do it.
No, I wouldn't add them to a community. Now, if you're wanting to strengthen a bloodline, like
Right.
I would like have them in their own like breeding pairing tank. I would not add, I would not mix in a community that's already established.
I love you, Gina.
Not worth
That's a
the
great
risk.
answer.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk.
No,
simply
not
put.
at all.
Right. And so if there's any breeders out there, like not a newcomer, but a breeder that's up and coming, yes, man, get some Gina's Reef seahorses in,
Make sure you quarantine them first.
quarantine them.
Yes.
Not cultivate, that's not the right word. What's the word?
Medicate.
Yeah, no, it's oh, I can't think of the dang word. What breeders do? The word's gone for me.
They reproduce.
Condition.
No.
Condition.
They condition.
Condition.
There you
That's it. Condition them.
Make sure they're eating. Yep.
And if you need to know how, we can help you with that. But yeah, bring some new blood into the seahorse world because we need it for sure. And yeah, no, I'm in agreement with everything here, and I loved your answer, Gina. I just worry about newcomers. I always, and if you are a newcomer though, and you're setting up a seahorse tank, and you go that route, then you have more options, and what we want is for you to check back in with us and tell us how it worked out, because that's the key. Is we can all say whatever we want, but in 6 months, a year, that's the true story, right? What really happens.
Don't buy hippocampus engines.
Yeah, don't buy engines.
You have a several 100-gallon tank, and unless you really wanting to enjoy watching some definite seahorse brutality, because they will grow over to 12 inches. They have a huge bony plate below the cornet, above their eyes, and they use it like a battering ram, and they ram into each other, trying to knock the other males away.
I think it's really hard to get engines, but Gina, do you guys keep macros? What kind of macros you got?
We have Dragon's Breath right now. We have some green Callirpa, grape Callirpa. I'm really hoping to get it. We just got our like sign-in information and all that with ORA, but they are out of blue hypnea right now. I really want to get some blue hypnea. My coworker really wants it. We still have some Gracilia. I'm trying to get Codium in from the person who we get from AJ Marine.
Yes.
I keep asking her for it. I'm like, are you going to get Codium? She's like, well, they'll be in. The divers are coming in tomorrow. We'll see. And I was like, but could you just tell them to just get it? Like, I keep asking every week. Like, come on. I want to get some Codium.
And seahorses absolutely adore Codium. I mean, I can tell you. I've got pictures of... I had Codium, a big old piece, like down at the bottom, hooked under a rock or something, and they love that. But I've even had pieces that floated, and the seahorses would hitch and float. It was freaking amazing to watch. I mean, I love macros. So can someone that's interested, like, I know you're just getting into shipping and all that, and I'm not trying to like bombard you with
You're
people,
okay. You're okay.
but I mean, are you looking into that? Like
Yeah.
maybe specific orders and
Mhm.
shipping and
Yeah, I could do
oh
that. You
yeah.
reach out to me. I've already sent in the fish fam. I've already sent out frozen food last year. Apparently, frozen Daphnia was really hard to find for some people.
Oh.
Mini baby bloodworm or mini bloodworms was hard to find for somebody else. And I was like, my vendor has it, so I ordered like 6 packs of it, and I put some dry ice in a box and sent it on
Well,
its
the
way.
problem is with that stuff is a lot of that stuff is seasonal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
What about
You can only
Sorry.
collect it at certain times of the year.
Yeah.
Can we first of all can we get some links if Gina's still here, or I'm sorry, if
Zenny?
Zen is still here? Can we get some links to reach out to Gina? If not, I'll post them afterwards.
Yeah.
But
Let's see.
I was going to say, what about Cyclops Ease? Because that's something that really helped me train Fry onto frozen. It was a good middle food, and you just can't get it anymore.
Is it a
Look,
frozen
I'm putting
food?
her on the spot.
No, it's
Cyclops
okay.
Ease? Yeah.
Okay. Let me look at my distributor website. I actually got a PC, so I can do this while I'm
The
streaming.
thing is,
now.
we stopped using the Cyclops A's years ago because we really didn't found that they were that great at taking it, and we were better off doing the live to get some growth on them, and then considered then after they've got size on them, utilizing the Cyclops A's. But it really wasn't necessary because by then they were capable of taking larger food, or you could chop it up into bits.
While I agree with you,
So-
100%, Cheryl, I'm really bad at tough love. So I'm not good at saying you're not going to eat unless you eat what I want. So I would like that in between food that I
Yeah.
could give them just to get them used to it.
I,
But
I used to
if
use
it's
it all
not
the
available,
time.
that's fine. That's fine.
I used to use it all the time. And what happened is it started becoming so difficult to get a hold of, I had to change what I was doing.
So there's a
Like
couple of
whatever.
different brands available at my distributor. The V2O looks like it has Cyclops frozen cubes. Ocean Nutrition looks like they have Cyclops cubes, and San Francisco Bay
Well, I'll have to hit you up on the side.
and Cobalt. But Cobalt's on closeout, so once they sell out of that, I don't know if they're going to get that back in. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll hit you up on the side for sure. And I have some really bad news, guys. I've got to go get my kids. So, do you guys want to keep chatting or?
You know, if you hadn't had those darn kids, you wouldn't have to worry about it.
I know it, right? And I still have to do a water change before tomorrow. But I mean,
But
we
it might
got
be
Gina
my
in
son cooks
here.
for me.
And Gina, you want to keep the conversation going for 5 minutes while I go get him, or are you?
I could try.
Okay. I'm gonna leave this live. I'm gonna go grab the kids. I'll be right back, and we will have Gina like as an actual guest at one point and have some spectacular things around that. But we've got her tonight, so ask questions and
Yes.
give her some shout outs. And what other questions do we have for you guys? Like, I want to like not walk away and just leave it dead air.
No,
But-
you're good.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, yeah, we could talk about products that I'm able to get and ship out, or
Okay.
I
Who
could talk
posted
about
kids'
my-
lovable parasite?
Terry. It's funny, when I was pregnant with my son, that's how I told my old job that I was pregnant. I'm like, I have a parasite, the kind that you clothe and feed until you're about 18. And then, yeah.
I have 2 more years.
I've
Mine are
learned one real
16,
funny
they're
thing
gone.
to do, though.
Yeah.
Is somebody that you've met and worked with on the internet, like the
Mhm.
Seahorse.org and through other things. And all of a sudden, one day you walk into a store that they're working at, but they don't recognize you. You don't know who they are because you never actually met in person before. You find out from one of the other employees the name of the person, and all of a sudden you pretend like you've known her for years.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
we become
All
very-
right. Miss Gina, tell us about the products you can get that maybe we can't get other places, and what you're
Yeah.
about.
So if you go to, I have all the dry products up on the website. I actually just changed. Apparently, they were set to keep selling when they're out of stock. So I just changed that yesterday, actually. But yeah, if you go to stlmarinesolutions.com, that's our website. It'll show what we currently have in stock. But everything else that's listed out of stock is all stuff from our distributor that we can order. Or you can go directly to our distributor website, DFW Aquarium. Yeah, dfwaquarium.com. That's one of our distributors.
I'm not that fast because I'm getting
You're
ready to
okay.
leave, but I'm showing Marine
Putting
Solutions now.
That's our new shiny website.
Oh, it's really good. I love that.
Thank
Oh my
you.
God. That is
Some
so
nice
nice.
things.
Yeah, so we pintail fairy or pintail wrasse that we had, a little dendro frag that we had.
Oh man.
But yeah, we have our weekly spotlight is like new exciting things that came in, and our weekly sale. We actually got some very exciting things in last week.
Holy moly.
Mm-hmm.
Octopus. Ooh.
Yep.
You guys aren't playing around.
Mm-mm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We're known for having stingrays every year. Every spring we order stingrays.
Well, and I love that
kind of our staple.
Well, and you guys educate your customers to make sure. What was the other website that you wanted me to share?
dfwaquarium.com. They're from Texas. They're from the DFW area. Or they're in Texas.
DFW.
It's in the DFW area.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, it's
telling
closer
me
than Florida.
Oh yeah, we have we order from Florida, we order from California, we order from Texas for dry goods, and I don't remember where premium is. We order from all over the place. Bulk Reef Supply also. Anything that's on Bulk Reef Supply, we can order also.
Nice. Okay, so is this the site you're talking about? Sorry, I got to get in the car, but I was trying to.
Are you going to get your kids?
Sure. I am. They can wait a minute.
Yes. Yep.
She's
that's
stopping.
She forgot her kids.
I didn't forget them. This was just more interesting.
I'm
but
messing with you.
I
I'm
will
messing
make
with you,
sure.
Kelly.
I know. I will make sure that these links are in the description when we're done. I'll be right back, guys. Chat.
Yeah, so frozen food comes from DFW. I don't order frozen food from the other distributors just because we get a better deal on shipping. They actually come and deliver it themselves, so we get a better deal on shipping through them. But yeah, I can order all kinds of stuff. I just ordered Hawaii black sand for a freshwater cichlid customer. Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Gina.
Yes.
Kelly and I have both been running into this at our local fish stores. They're unable to get the Hikari flat packs.
Yes, I actually just got
going on with that. Why?
I don't know. They just seem to go through waves of getting out of stock. I hadn't been able to get the 32-ounce flat packs for the store. That's what we order for our brine shrimp that we feed to our fish. Yeah. I hadn't been able to get that in for like 3 or 4 weeks now. I finally got some in today. I ordered 4 packs, 4 32-ounce packs. And that'll probably last us about 3 to 4 weeks. But yeah, they've been out of the spirulina brine 16-ounce flats for months. Like,
oh wow,
that's one of our big. We do maintenances also through our store. So Marine Solutions is the store, Reef Keepers is the maintenance side.
Oh, the home maintenance for people's tanks,
businesses, homes.
Well, I think part of it has to do with all the chaos that's going on right now, and the problem with shipping is the shipping may be a major factor as well,
or sourcing. I think a lot of it is sourcing. Because Hikari's over in Japan. I don't know where their factory for what they send.
Well, I know somebody in Florida that does wholesale, and when nobody else can get it, he seems to be able to come up with it.
Nice. Yeah,
but
so
it's one of those things where it's really touch and go.
But yeah, my store has only had the cubes.
Yes, he drop ships it to the airport. You have to go and pay at the airport.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's fair to me. But yes, brine shrimp is starting to come back. So hopefully you start seeing it back. But now krill is going through a out of stock phase. It's either mysis, brine, or krill. It's one of the three is
It's one
always
or
like
the other.
under. It's always unavailable. One of the three. Squid
I started
also.
I started adding krill to my seahorse diet a while back,
Hmm.
and I've still got some left. And it was really amazing because in the past we've never been able to get small enough size krill for seahorse mallets.
Yeah.
Well, now this is the what is it called? It's in the pink package.
It's Pacifica, you said,
Thank
right?
you.
I
And it's
asked my fish store about that too when the mysis started getting scarce. So I
yeah.
don't know if she's going to look into that, but that's the one I've heard that they will eat. So
I've
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 been
had excellent luck getting them to eat that.
I've been
They'll
stocking up on our
yeah.
overstock frozen for
It's going to
this
have to be
reason.
a larger adult. It's not for
Yeah.
neonatal fry, but it definitely works well. And they took to it. Mine took to it right away. Of course, mine are always hungry.
yeah.
Yeah, we have a deep freezer in the back at the store that now I keep 2 boxes of the regular brine shrimp, Hikari brine shrimp cubes. I try to keep 20 flats of the brine, mysis, and spirulina brine. Um, and then San Francisco Bay usually has better availability, so I keep those as like a backup. If I absolutely run out of my back stock of Hikari, then I have San Francisco Bay as a backup. So
Yeah.
Guys, I jumped the gun. My kids need picked up at 10, so I'll be leaving again in 15 minutes.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
yeah, I was like, yeah, we have an hour. Oh no, never mind.
Right. Sorry. No, we can go as long as you guys want. I mean, I'm good. But I was gonna say, Gina, how you mentioned the back freezer
Mhm.
because Vincent said he always stocks up on flats. Zen
I
Ginger
do that
said
too.
she stocks up on flats. But Dan made the point a while ago that our freezers aren't capable of handling keeping them long term. So you have a deep freezer.
We have a deep freezer. Yes, it's kept at like -10.
So it'd be better to buy from you like continuously versus stocking up.
Yeah, the floor
Because
freezer we keep at -2. The back freezer gets at like -10.
make them walk.
I've got one of those top lip freezers for that kind of stuff. That thing it'll freeze your hands off.
Yes,
Yeah,
we actually have a pair of gloves that we keep by the freezer in the back.
Yeah, I know.
Because
I
yes,
noticed
oh my
one
god, I've
mysis
like
is super
to
cold
get
when you
all
get out the
numb.
pack. It freezes you. No, we keep our freezers super cold in my house. We have a deep freeze and we have a stand up, but even the stand up, they stay way frozen in there
Yes.
too. So
And that's why I
I don't
really
have
like
an
about
issue with that.
DFW how they
Mhm.
deliver everything. So they have a big like Yeti freezer and they keep dry ice in it. So it is even
Oh.
colder when we actually get it off the truck.
That's painful.
It's
That's-
like burn off your fingerprints. Like,
But that's
cold.
good. That's
Yes,
good.
it's
I
very
mean,
good.
and when you come up with your shipping methods, I can't wait because that's what I need is I know the cost of shipping,
Mhm.
but it's okay with me. I don't have to drive an hour to get it. I would pay the shipping, but I don't want it to come in melting because
Yeah.
then, it's a mess. So I'm just glad you're working on it. And Zen wants to know, do you all
right.
ever use Ocean Nutrition?
Ocean Nutrition. So we sell Ocean Nutrition Flake. That's actually
Yeah.
we use the what is that, Formula 2? I always forget one or two which one's which. For the tangs. Especially tangs that aren't eating a few days after we get them in, we put the formula, I think it's the Formula 2 flakes, and that usually gets them eating. But it is like our number one selling flake food that we sell.
Hey, my favorite, ordered 4 boxes of Instant Ocean salt. 3 of them came, were fine, and were heavy as normal. I went to live up to the 4th one, and here was birthday invitations for this little girl's birthday party.
Oh my gosh.
I called them, and they were so embarrassed.
Aww.
I was trying to look because when I'm desperate, I have to buy mysis from my local pet store, which I don't like. But I think it's San Francisco. I thought maybe it was. I'm trying to look it up. Sorry.
No,
At the
you're
same
okay.
time.
Anyone try a tongue to flat pack? No, my fingers stick as it is. Man, I'm not gonna put my tongue on that.
Right. I can't find it.
I'd super
but
chat
yeah.
to see you do it, says Zen. Terry,
I'm
next
not
stream.
sticking my tongue to a flat pack. No.
Terry, next time you stream, I'll super chat you and then you do it on stream.
Yeah.
That's I do want to do shout outs too. So Terry streams, right? Terry,
Mm-hmm.
can you share your link to your stream?
Yeah, Zen, if
we'd
you
love
want to
that.
share Terry's Fish Fam link. So if you guys get on Fish Fam link and sign up for, I think, there's an app, Fish Fam link app. If you
Okay.
download the app and sign
Let's do
in,
it
you'll
now.
actually get notifications when people stream. So they send out a notification when you guys start streaming.
Okay. Well, then
Yep.
I need to be a part of this for sure.
Yeah, Fish Fam link.
All right.
Matt, who is Liquid Zoo. Oh my god, I just forgot his whole name, his whole thing. He built the website. He does everything himself. Liquid Zoo OnlyFans, that's what it is.
Wait, how do I look it up on Apple Store? Somebody tell me.
It should be Fish Fam link. Let me see.
Are you looking for mice and shrimp at an Apple store?
No, not at all. I got nothing. Because actually, Fish Fam Link, I need to talk to you because I'm trying to finish this really cool app, but I need a partner to finish it. Because
Email hello
I need
at
it.
fishfam.link and yeah, that'll go to Matt.
And I do want to promote the Fish Fam Link, but I can't even get it myself. Maybe I already have it. Let's see.
Hey, they also have a Patreon. I'm trying to find where
Nope.
they have links to the. I don't know if they're on Apple. I know they're on Android because I have the app.
Oh no.
I don't know if he integrated Apple.
I'll be right back, guys. As soon as I
All right.
do what I
There
need to
be
do.
a link to the app maybe on the website.
That's what I'm
Where
looking.
the
They have a YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Discord,
I'm looking at all this.
Patreon, and
seeing-
Shopify.
I am not seeing how to do it with Apple. Fish Fam Link. Right. All right. Well, we want to support you, so tell us how. And I really will reach out to you because I have a really cool app in the works. I just need some more computer geniuses to help me finish it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a ton of people in the Fish Fam. Geek Boy is really good with computers. Stephen P.
See?
Bex. Oh yeah, they can all. You just reach out to Matt at hello at fishfam.link and yeah, he knows who to reach out to if he needs help figuring out something. Matt's super smart, super tech savvy.
Fishfam.link, you said?
Fishfam.link. Yep.
All right. And wait, that's email? Or is that?
Yep. Yep, it's his own domain. Yep, his own email domain.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, I want to put this on my phone, so you guys need to tell me how. Okay, he's sending sites. Let's open. Maybe.
Yeah, Terry streamed. He's been busy lately, so he hasn't streamed lately. But whenever he does,
link. Maybe
he'll start streaming. I might stream tomorrow.
Okay.
I have Pokemon cards. I'm a nerd. Also, I have Pokemon cards coming, and I might open them on stream tomorrow. But
Love it.
Yeah. I also am very big. I have a little Lego fish tank right there that I put together, and I have a little wood seahorse.
Oh, we gotta see it.
I got it at Harbor Freight. They had these little wood figures, and I saw the seahorse, and I was like, I need it.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Thinking about painting it, but I'm not sure.
Yes. Oh, where did you get it? Because I want one.
Harbor Freight.
Yep. That's crazy. Yeah, the tool place. They sell tools and stuff. We go there for stuff all the time.
At my store in the back corner, they have like this little kids section. There's a sea turtle.
Oh, man.
I don't know if Forrest has a section like that. I'll have to check it out because I've never seen anything other than your household tools and
right.
Yeah, mine's in like the very back corner of the store. So little.
I'd have to look.
You have to search for it.
It
We're
might be
just
a
asking an employee,
personal thing at that store too.
right?
Well, now we need to see when you paint it because
Right.
that's exciting. That's really cool. Love it. And I did get to the Fish Fam link.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I
cool.
was checking it out. I did not see a link to get to an app though.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me
But you're
look in
saying
my app store and see because I have Apple also. Maybe it's just not available on Apple.
Yeah, maybe not. I have an Android, and that's what I have it on. But yeah, if you go to Who's Live Now, it shows us because we're
that's
linked in
awesome.
there.
That's awesome. And I did just download because I'm part of Discord. They've
Mhm.
got a Discord. I see
Yep.
that. See,
Yeah,
we're
and that sends out
old. It's
and that
hard. It's
sends out
hard because there's all
notifications.
these things.
Yeah, he might be
Okay.
over at Dan's Fish right now. He might be lurking in Dan's Fish stream because I saw Dan is going live. But
And Gina, tell
yeah,
us about your life. What are you doing? What are you
I
doing?
just do a hangout just like this where I
Okay.
literally just talk with chat and like I said, it's a lot of freshwater keepers, so they'll usually ask like certain questions like, oh, if I wanted this fish, what would I have to do? Like
Right.
I was in somebody else's chat. I'm just kind of known as the saltwater person. I'm the salty one.
The salty one.
I'm the salty one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he asked me, he's like, hey, so between a black tang and a gem tang, which one's more expensive and which one's more rare? I was like, well, they're both stupid expensive.
Right.
But they've both been on our order form for the last like 2 months, so I wouldn't call them rare. But the Hawaiian black tang is going to be the most expensive. I was like, we have a show.
Felicia McCauley won one of those at an event. So
That's a big deal.
Anyways, go on.
We have a show size gem tang at work right now. It's
Really?
$800.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, if we got a black Hawaiian tang, we would have to charge like $8,000 for it.
Look at this, you guys. I just got to show you real quick. She's not kidding.
I
Look,
want a Lego Seahorse.
you go to Fish Fam link, and there's Wine Wednesday.
Yeah, there's a
We're
little
live.
notification. Yeah, a little pop up showing who's live right now. Dan's Fish
Yep.
is live, and then we're live. And it goes right to the YouTube.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So
you
I
gotta.
think you can use the website, but I don't think it's an Apple app because mine didn't have it either. It couldn't find it.
Yeah, Zen says she messaged
Look,
Matt.
it's us.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool.
But yeah.
So, anyway, sorry.
Zen has messaged Matt, so he will get back to her if he has an Apple app or not.
All right. So what else, guys? You know I gotta leave in 3 minutes.
You remember who Tammy Weiss is?
Of course.
Okay, years ago she posted. She got into a fish store, and they were selling baby combs as dwarf seahorses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aww.
That's why we need good stores like Gina's Reef that sell seahorses by their proper name and tells the truth about what she's selling, and that's what matters.
Oh yeah, when we get sent stuff that's not what we expected it to be.
She was one of the few people. I was working with him at the time, and she was working with him at the time. When she posted that, I didn't want to strangle her, but I wanted to strangle the person that did it.
Sure.
Yeah. But if we had that with a trigger fish, we tried to order a sickle trigger, there's like 5 different triggers that are called sickle triggers or half moon or boomerang or whatever. They send us a whitetail.
We forget that while we worry about species of seahorses, the species of other fish matter too. And
go on. So they sent us a whitetail instead, and we just immediately called our rep. We're like, "This is not what you sent us. You sent us this scientific name when you had it listed as this scientific name. These are not the same fish. You need to fix that listing right now.
Yeah,
and give us our money back because this is not what we ordered."
My brother lives in Hawaii. And he's always telling me stories. He used to be a part-time surf instructor and stuff like that. And I remember he went out with some guy that was going to go fishing. And they had these trap ways of catching them with You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
With a spring in it. And it's like my brother was so despondent after that because he goes, all they're going to do is kill these fish the way they're treating them.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think that's why isn't that why Hawaii shut down is because of the mistreatment? Like they were finding dumpsters full of fish that were like rejects. So
Well,
That's really
conservation was like, nope, we got to reform this.
yeah.
yeah. Basically, they're trying to preserve and save their indigenous fauna.
Yeah,
Mhm.
before it gets endangered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my brother was just livid when he called me. He goes, I just needed to call you and talk to somebody that would understand.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm curious, real quick, Gina. You said the other person live right now is whom?
Dan's Fish. So he's
Dan's Fish.
actually a he sells fish online, but they have like this whole oh my gosh, he's got a very unique filter. It's not even a filtration system. His business is like they believe right by a spring fed like stream.
Oh,
So
wow.
they literally bring in fresh from the spring, and then they have lots of different like safeguards to make sure none of the fish have any way of getting out into the environment for preservation and all that.
Good.
But they quarantine all their fish before they sell them. They go through a quarantine process. He tries to breed as many different breeds as he can, as of many different species as he can. Oh my gosh, he's such a good fish seller.
I'm going to
On
start watching.
on his streams every week, he actually goes through like how many deaths did we have this week? How many bad reviews did we get this week? Did we have any shipping problems? Like he's very transparent, very amazing.
But he
And then
goes
chat
live at the same time as us.
he does, yeah, he
Oh,
does.
okay.
But yeah, he'll answer questions in chat about husbandry of certain fish. Are you going to get this certain fish back in stock? He talks to chat. Oh my god, he's such an amazing guy. I met him at the Triple Crown. He goes to events and everything. He's super. The man you see on stream is exactly who he is. He is just a super bubbly, amazing man. But yeah.
Well, I can definitely say I'm not super bubbly, but what you see is what you get. And if you meet me at a show, I'll be the exact same person too. I'll
Yeah.
drink a glass of wine with you. But this guy sounds amazing,
Yes.
and I'm gonna check him out because I'm focused
Kelly,
on
don't you
seahorses,
already
but
have someone?
what?
No,
No, I didn't
But
mean it like that.
he usually goes till
Daryl
9:30.
gets
So you can
Billy.
watch like the tail end of his stream.
I know
after
who
you
got a
guys-
laugh out of that one.
You said he watches the tail end of the stream.
No, he said you could watch the tail end of his
That's
stream because he
right,
goes
that's
till
right.
9:30. So
There you go.
and then
Well, we usually
Stephen
end
P
up till
usually
10,
goes
10:30.
after. Stephen P usually goes after. Stephen P Aquatics goes at like 9:35, and they talk for an hour, and then they have a game called What the Fish, where him and his wife or their kids draw a fish. You watch them actively draw a fish, and you have to guess the fish. And there's also a theme for the night. So and it's like a whole
shit.
point game. It's so much fun. Last week was Disney, and I just like cleaned the board. I guessed everything right. I got all the points.
And what do they win? What do you win?
So once a year, at the end of the year, you win merch. You'll win like a T-shirt or leggings. They'll do a big drawing. So however many points you get is how many entries you have. So the more points, the more entries
See,
you'll have.
Gina, this is why I need to talk to you on the side. Is I want to do that kind of stuff for the Seahorse world, but I'm
Yeah.
not that smart, so I need help. I need these ideas. I don't want to copy their idea, but we
Oh, no,
could
it's
come
all
up with
good.
a game, and we
Fish Fam
could
Link.
do that.
Fish Fam Link
Okay.
has a giveaway wheel. So we call it the Wheel of You Lose, because the way that we do it is that you don't just spin it once and that's the winner. No, you spin it until it's down to the last person. So it's the Wheel of You Lose. So if you're picked, you lose.
Nice.
It takes like 10
okay,
minutes,
well,
but yeah.
the bottom line is I want these kind of ideas. Like I want to do fun stuff with the channel. I don't have a lot of time on the side. That's why I need people like you to help me figure out how to do fun
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
So I'll get with you on the side and we'll try to figure something out to do.
Yes.
Sounds great. And I will definitely check out his channel. Dan's Fish Links.
I
Absolutely.
want to a video of a scuba diver hunting fish and photographs of seahorses and dragonettes and lionfish, and all the whole 9 yards.
All of them.
Yeah.
So
I
Steven's
took a
actually
grouper
not.
too.
Ooh, groupers are cool.
Friend
They're
of mine
scary.
used to have a 600-gallon tank in his living room. We used it as a divider between living room and dining room. And he literally had the roof portion removed and put in a, um, a greenhouse type window in there in the roof. You should
Oh,
have seen that tank. I mean,
Sure.
he had stuff in there that I mean was huge that I've never seen that big.
yeah. You're fun without the gimmicks. Aw, thanks. Thanks, Terry.
Absolutely.
But yeah, all these.
And Gina, you're welcome every week,
Thank you.
obviously.
It just depends when I get home. Sometimes I'm like starving and I have to eat, or my fiance wants, goes and on and on and on about his day. We always try to. We have like an hour. My fiance gets up at like 3 a.m. to go to work, so we only have like an hour to actually talk before he has to go to bed. So
My guy wakes up and goes to work at I think 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, so same
Yeah.
thing. Same thing. But I would just say, this has been so much fun. And, we want you to come back anytime you can. And we want to do more with the channel. I'm on my own with this. So I need you guys' help. I need
Yeah.
you guys to tell me what to
Well,
do.
you can also join, like Zen said, the get on Fishcord on the Discord server. All these
Okay.
people
All
are
right.
on the Discord, so yeah, you could just put in general chat like, "Hey, anyone have ideas for this, or can someone help me with that?" And then someone will reach out to you. And oh my God, this is such a great community.
So you mean another notification I have to answer?
Yeah.
I'm teasing. I'm
Yeah.
teasing. But
Oh, I know. I had to.
I'm getting old,
I
you
had to turn
guys.
off-
I want
I
to do
had to
this.
turn off
So.
all the notifications for that Discord, like on the different channels and everything, because my phone was just blowing up like crazy. So I'm like, turn off notifications unless I'm mentioned, and then I get a notification. So
See, I feel bad. I got added to some budget reefer coral messenger thing. I don't know. And I was like, okay, hey, look, you want to know about seahorses? Come here. And then it's like every day, 20 times a day. And I'm like, I don't even do coral anymore. So I appreciate it. I'd help you if I could, but it's a little too much. But I will check it out for sure. And, join and see if I can make a difference there. But I need you guys' help making the channel.
yeah, no problem. Annette, Mystery Snail Guardians, is really good at making like the intros and stuff, like little snippet videos.
Oh.
So yeah, you can reach out to her.
Okay.
But yeah, I was gonna say something. Oh, maybe
Well, as you say this, I will watch this later, but it's 10. I do have to go get them.
Okay.
So I will be back in 5 minutes, you guys, and then
Promises.
if you guys are just sitting here dead, then I will end it. But if not, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Oh, you're all good. Maybe I'll actually get motivation to clean. Like, I've been neglecting my tank, my reef here at home, so maybe I'll actually have motivation to actually clean it up tomorrow on my day off, so that next week I can show off my reef.
There you go.
It's full of bubble algae. It is full of, like, I had the best pair of emerald crabs when I first started my tank, and like you see a couple little bubble algae every now and then. But then they passed, and then I tried to get 2 new ones, and they were just slackers. And so now there's bubble algae everywhere, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
my coral are fine, but it just looks awful.
Yeah, I couldn't do the reef thing. I tried, but so much work. I mean, the seahorses on their own are enough for me, but I had so much algae problems and stuff going on when I had the live rock.
Yes.
And then the corals did not like the seahorses parameters. So
or the seahorses hitching on them, or yeah.
Well, the seahorses never hitched on them because I didn't put them where the seahorses could get to them. I put them up, and the seahorses didn't go to that area. But I think I kept the water too cold for them.
Gotcha.
It's when I talked to my LFS, because I have my tanks on chillers, to keep down the bacteria.
Yeah.
And in the winter, we get pretty cold here, and I have their heaters set pretty low to like 66, 67, right in there. and they didn't like being in the 60s, I think,
You
is
you
what.
lost your freshwater tank?
Huh?
Did you lose your freshwater tank?
Oh, no, no.
Oh,
No,
okay.
my freshwater tank is still going. It's doing fine now, actually. Yeah. No,
Um,
I was talking about what way back when I started the seahorses. I started
yeah,
with live rock.
yeah.
And
Uh,
I put like I had a few like simple corals in there. I had some xenia, a little tiny bit of xenia, and a GSP.
Mm-hmm.
And they did fine for a little while, and then they were just really unhappy, and I think it was the temperature. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
temperature is a big factor, but I wonder also because I've heard you guys talk about it before how
Mhm.
seahorses are just dirty because of their food, especially you
Yeah.
can easily overfeed
Mhm.
and food gets left
Mhm.
behind. I wonder if phosphates were elevated because that affects corals. Phosphates affect corals, whereas nitrates affect fish. So
Mhm.
I wonder if
Mhm.
your phosphates were elevated and
Now
that
I've
might have been a
heard though
factor.
that zinnias like dirty water though.
Softies do like dirtier water, but they still you can have too high of phosphates and
Huh.
that'll affect them. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't my phosphates have never been super high though, so I don't know that that was a factor or not. I'd have to know like what they like because I'm not.
Usually you want it to be below 1.0
Yeah,
for phosphate. So,
so mine are way below that.
oh, really? Okay. So maybe
Yeah.
that wasn't it.
So, yeah, I don't know. The only thing I could figure out, like I said, was
Yeah,
it was
probably just temperature.
too cold for him, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably.
I'll never know, but I didn't try him again.
Yeah.
That was when I went all artificial after that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I get
Yeah.
way less algae. I get film algae in this tank in here, in the tiki tank, but never like green hair algae.
Yeah.
In the other tank where I used to have the live rock, it still gets the green hair algae from what was left behind, I think, from in little
Mm-hmm.
corners and stuff. It keeps reproducing. So that comes back along with the coralline algae.
Yes.
It was pretty on the rocks, but it's not so pretty when you're scraping it off the sides of your acrylic tank.
No. Oh, an acrylic tank. Oh.
It's nasty. I
Oh
hate it.
my gosh. And you got to be super careful not to scratch it.
Yeah, you can get I get plastic razor blades.
Yep.
Those work well.
Yes.
Also, a piece of acrylic, like one of my favorite tools I learned if I take a big piece of acrylic, a big flat piece, and use that, I can do a lot of the coralline algae at once, a great big thing, and it works good.
There actually is an organics water test kit. We actually just discovered this at work.
Oh, wow, cool.
Let's see. VOC water test. That's what it is.
Huh. I'm gonna write that down.
VOC. I'm
Because
trying to
yeah,
see exactly what that stands for.
dissolved organics are our worst enemy with
Hmm.
seahorses.
Well, then there's also, TDS, but
yeah.
um, violet organic compounds water test. Yep. Or volatile. Sorry, volatile. I can't read. My camera's right in the middle of my screen. Volatile organic compounds water test. So VOC water test. Yeah, we just discovered that at work. There was a company we found that also has a bacterial test. So you put in a water sample, it'll tell you like the different types of bacteria that's in your water. Um, but yeah, love to see how organics equal phosphate. So you also have to remember like bacterias are organics. Yeah, I would too. Yeah. Because we do one of our table systems is always high in phosphates. That was the one we actually just did a deep sump clean on yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a few days. I refreshed the Phosguard. I'm going to give it a few days to let the Phosguard do its thing and see if it brings it down. But yeah, I've been struggling with it for months now.
Uh, Ever since I started basically being really anal about my sumps, and my tanks are basically bare bottom with artificial hitches. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any of the troubles I used to have.
Yep. None of that
Mhm.
build up and still got detritus, but yeah, easier to clean.
Yeah, but that's easy enough to
And
clean.
you
You
can
clean once a
see, yeah,
week.
that's the cool thing too about the bare bottom is you can see everything.
Yeah, well, that makes it easy too. It's true. You can see everything that's in there. And when you run artificial hitches like I do, I bought from what was it? Aquarium? What's the place
Ocean
that has?
aquarium.
That's it. I got some real nice tall ones, and then I had some smaller rock, and I drilled them out with just the right
Mm-hmm.
size hole for the peg to go with them, and
Nice.
hollowed them out so it looked like they were growing out of the rock. Those are my new uh, touches for all my seahorse tanks.
So I've seen like
Yeah,
the
I
brightly
love
colored.
those. I have a bunch of those.
I've seen like the brightly colored like chains. Hey,
Yeah,
leave the
Mhm.
detritus alone. Terry, be quiet. Um,
those are
so I've
pretty cool
seen.
because they swing back and forth, and seahorses like to swing.
So do you guys get
Mhm.
those chains anywhere specific, or are like the bird chains or
Home
those
Depot.
aquarium sake?
I get
Oh, okay.
mine at Home Depot. Yeah, they just sell them on the big roll with the others.
Oh, okay.
And there's you can find the fancy colored ones you can find on Amazon. I've seen
Gotcha.
like if you go to Home Depot in their stock, they have yellow and white
Yeah.
in my store, the only colors you can get. But if you go online, they come in a million colors. And it's interesting because I don't use them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
My seahorses outgrew them. When they were
Yeah.
younger, yeah, when they were juveniles and they were smaller, they liked the chains. And as they grew big, they weren't the novelty that they were
Yeah.
anymore. And they like some of mine like shower curtain rings,
Oh.
and some of them don't.
Well, part of that too is as they get bigger, they're going to start trying to go through there, and if they get jammed up, which seahorses are
Hmm.
notorious for doing,
Yeah.
but
Get stuck in
with,
a chain.
assuming they can get themselves out, they're never going back.
That was another thought I just had was do they ever like get their tails pinched in those chains? Like whenever it's swaying, like does it ever I
I've
guess it doesn't have
never
enough
had that
weight to the
happen. I
buoyancy, yeah.
I had when I was raising fry, they got to an age where, they were just about the size of the chain link.
Yeah.
And I had one that grew a little bit bigger, and like Cheryl said, he tried to go through one and he got stuck in the chain link, in the open space because he was a little bigger than he'd been probably last time he tried to go
What a
through.
silly little
And he
doofus.
and he got it, but the seahorses get stuck a lot.
Yeah.
They seem to be smart, but they're lacking in logic.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't understand to go back out. They keep
Hmm.
trying to push forward.
They
One of
forget
my
they can.
males stuck his head through a hole in a rock. Well, rather than backing off when he couldn't get through, he started fighting it, and I found
Yeah.
him. And when I
Oh.
found him, his pouch, or not his pouch, his snout was swollen from him rubbing it on the rocks trying to get out.
Mhm.
Well, I treated him with Alamax for 3 days straight, but within the first 3 hours after treatment, his snout was back to the same, and he was back to eating dinner like nothing
Mhm.
happened.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Well, I
Yeah,
obviously
I've
caught
had
him
to
really
break
early, or
them out of
he
stuff.
would have done a lot more damage.
Hmm.
But
I've had to have my husband break apart decorations to get seahorses out.
Yeah. I used
So
to
what
have
I
rainbow.
do now that I'm so used, I know kind of the way they think. So when I get like a decoration that they can fit through, but not all the way through, I cut a piece off of a plastic plant
Hmm.
and jam
Put it
it
in
in
there.
that hole because if they think they can't get through it, they won't try. Even though they could push the thing out if they wanted to, they
they
don't try, they won't do it.
Yeah.
So if you have a hole that's about their size that you think they could get stuck in, if you shove something in it, they won't try to
Yeah.
go
They
through.
won't even try it. Yeah.
Well, it's like my favorite was one very, very, very pregnant, huge male that I had. And he decided to go through the same hole between the side of the tank and a piece of rock. Well, he got up there and he didn't fit anymore. And about 30 minutes later, I'm watching him because I don't want him to get hurt or anything. But he's not getting aggressive and he's not rubbing against it or anything.
Mhm.
He's just kind of looking at it and trying to figure out how to get over it. He finally dawns on him to swim up higher and swim over the top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they
I stood there for over 30 minutes watching him to make sure he was safe.
Welcome back.
Hello. And I don't think my AirPods are working anymore, probably because I went
Oh,
out.
no.
But I will give you guys some updates. Chris messaged and said, as far as the Shyla seahorse
yeah.
that we talked about earlier, he doesn't look bad to me. The body shape is pretty typical of a whitey eye male, and they have a bit of contour between the body and the pouch. I wouldn't be stressed about it, especially if he's eating like a pig and not acting out of character.
Who wrote that?
Just to let everyone
Who
know.
wrote Chris?
Chris Carey, yeah.
Chris
Yeah.
Carey.
Okay. I
Yeah.
totally trust
So he
Chris.
said that's typical for whitey eye,
Yeah.
basically to look
Yeah,
like
thin
the
like
reflections
that
look
there.
weird.
Yeah.
So as long as he's eating and doing well, don't
He's the
worry.
genius on the
Um,
white eye, too.
Mhm.
Yeah. And my other question was, going back, sorry, we're going to go back, but you were talking about bubble algae when I left, and why don't I see it in my all-in-one? Like, that's so interesting to me. Do you think it comes in on like macros and other coral?
Yeah, it's a hitchhiker. Yeah. It has
Okay.
to be introduced to a system. Yeah.
Hey, some of it was my friend, was not my friend after they gave me a 50-gallon tank that was covered in bubble algae when I put water in it. And I had a devil of a time getting rid of that stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. And the other thing was, how do you think organics equal to phosphates? Like, that's been a question of mine forever. Like,
There's Matt.
you test for high phosphates
Wherever
for
it is.
coral, but we don't have a test for organics for like seahorses, but they have to have a correlation.
Yeah, so it just depends. So, like, is it live organics or are they dead organics? Because that organics test is just going to test anything that's organic.
Right.
So, yeah, if you're like carbon dosing, liquid carbon dosing, that's an organic. It's going to pick that up. So, I don't know if it distinguishes the different types of organics. Let me actually, I still have it pulled up.
Oh, did you guys talk about this already?
Yeah, there
Sorry.
was the VOC test. Yeah. I don't. This is actually just for like main water testing. This isn't like fish tank.
Yeah,
The
it's
one my
like,
coworker
it's
found.
for like tap water testing, looks like.
Yeah. So there was actually one that we found, a website that we found that was for like fish tanks. I'll have to, whenever I go to work Friday, I'll have to have my coworker pull that back up. Hi, Matt. Matt's in chat. Liquid Zoo OnlyFans. He's the one who does Fish Fam Link.
Nice. Hello.
I had a feeling you said my name. He's always lurking. Matt's always around. But yeah, yeah, I'd have to talk to my boss about that. Like, we'll have to pull up that website, look at, see if it actually does distinguish between the different types of organics, if it categorizes them. And yeah, I'll send you a link to it.
Okay, sounds great. Because we blame organics for everything, and I'm not sure that that's altogether correct, right? I mean, organics matter, phosphates matter, but like in my reef tank, you don't chase phosphates. You just try to keep them low, right? So I just
No,
sorry,
you're okay.
kids talking to me too. But I would love to connect with anybody from Fish Fam
Yeah.
and try to get these things going, because I can't do it by myself, y'all. I've got all these ideas, I've got all these things in works, so contact me, please. Anyway, anything else, you guys? Because the kids are now home and bugging me. I'm sorry. But
No,
we can
it's
go at
all
2.5
good.
hours.
Yeah,
We want Julia to Gina here every week because she brings the salty side, right? We're all salty, but she brings the salty side that actually makes us think about what we're saying and
Mhm.
think about what we're
I bring a
doing.
new
So
perspective.
Yeah,
that's
more
right.
stuff besides
So
seahorses.
Yes. Yes.
absolutely. And we need to have, like I said earlier, a special guest episode where you're the guest. But I'll get with you on the side about that. But for tonight, guys, anything else we need to discuss? I'm so sorry, but I'm like the kids are
No, it's all good.
screaming.
I'm starving, so no,
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
I have
So
physical
anybody,
therapy in the morning, and I had enough of a workout today already. So
Hey,
Right.
look at
right?
the bright
Same,
side.
same.
You're not refinishing your entire front porch like I am.
no,
Oh,
and I
Right,
wouldn't,
right.
Cheryl.
No,
I don't
no, no.
envy you that.
And Miss Gina, make sure I have the links to everything we discussed so I can put it in the description because we want to support Fish Fam links. And what was the name of the person that's live right now? I'm sorry. I'm
Dan's
so bad.
Fish. Let me.
Dan's Fish.
Yes.
Is he still live? Because I would suggest
Yes.
everyone
For
go
about
catch
5 or
the
so
rest of
more
his show.
minutes, he should still be live.
Go catch the rest of his show, and then I'm gonna contact him and be like, can we collaborate somehow and make sure that everybody gets everything from each of the streams. But for tonight, guys, I am gonna call it. I'm sorry.
Don't be
They
sorry.
won't leave
How
me
many
alone.
hours did you work today before you did this?
I didn't work today, I admit it, but kids.
Yes.
That's it. Kids.
Oh, God help you.
16-year-old friends. But anyways, we will be back next week. We're going to come up with some giveaways and make sure that the group gets going because I know it's been kind of slow. We just have to find a focus and get things going. So any help that you want to give, I'm game for any help, and I will get some giveaways and speakers coming. And thank you so much, Gina's
Yeah, no
Reef, for joining
problem.
Yeah,
us
that
and
was
sharing more about you and what you're doing. And we hope you join us every week, but we need to make a special guest episode.
And Kelly,
No
I just
problem.
want to say, I don't think you're moving that slow. I think you're doing an amazing job with
Thanks.
trying to take care of kids, working a full-time job, and taking care of tanks and doing this. That's
Yeah. Well, I'll be here every week either way until we get it going. And then when we get it going, we'll have better people to take over and do better. Like Zen Ginger, right? Wink, wink, Zen
Zen
Ginger.
doesn't stream. She just lurks.
No, Zen
Lurk.
Ginger's amazing.
No, she's amazing.
She is my rock.
Zenny's awesome.
But for tonight, guys, I will say happy Wine Wednesday, and we'll see